pronouncement of judgment on Babylon. In this chapter, God is bringing before us those who will appear again in the book of Revelations, but he is giving us now more and or less a program which he is going to follow. Verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Excuse me, Revelations chapter 12 and verse 8. And now the Megias of Sardis translation is, and another angel, a second, followed, saying, fell is Babylon the Great, that hath made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. There is a book entitled Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, which you ought to read. It is especially pertinent in these days in which you and I live. It reveals that Babylon has been Satan's headquarters from the very beginning. Babylon is the place where idolatry began. Uh, Semiramis was the wife of Nimrod. Now, some scholars think that she was his mother and that she married her own son. She was queen of Babel, which later became Babylon, and she devised a nice little story, be, uh, beginning a whole system of idolatry in which she came out of an egg in the Euphrates River. She cracked the shell and stepped out fully grown. The worship of Semiramis introduced the female principle in the deity. This reveals that Babylon was the uh, fountainhead of false religion. Fell is Babylon. This second angel runs um, uh, ahead and announces that which is yet to come as though it had already taken place. In the original Greek, fell is in the prophetic aorist tense. In other words, Daryl has this underscored, God's prophetic word is so sure that he speaks as though the event had already taken place. And Daryl continues underscoring, it is just as sure as if it were his history already. Daryl underscores this, the city of Babylon will evidently be rebuilt during the Great Tribulation period. And remember, uh, Saddam Hussein, he had plans and he intended to rebuild Babylon, but before his demise. If you have my book on Isaiah, you will see that I deal uh, with the probability in chapter 13. I believe that ancient Babylon will be rebuilt, although not at the same location, and that judgment upon it, which is predicted in the book of Isaiah, is yet to come. The idolatry of Babylon is a divine intoxication which will uh, fascinate the entire world. This is the reason we are seeing so much experimentation in our day with Satan worship, exorcism, and all the cults, which are definitely satanic. Notice what the Old Testament prophets have said about it. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations were drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. If you could get away far enough and look back at this earth, I am of the opinion that you would be disappointed in mankind and in the nations of the world. Then in the prophecy of Isaiah, we read, "And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will uh, lay low the haughtiness of the terrible." Isaiah 13 and verse 11. This brings down the wrath of God upon the world. See Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 15 through 26. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the uh, Chaldees, excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 19. Darrell underscores this. This is a judgment on Babylon that we are going to see. Judgment upon religious Babylon in chapter 17 on of Revelation, and upon commercial Babylon in chapter 18. And that concludes